Welcome to Big Blend Radio, where we celebrate variety and how it adds spice to quality of life. Welcome to the Big Daily Blend, everybody. It is May 26th. How did we get here? It is Memorial Weekend, and this is that weekend that kind of is that unofficial start to summer and summer travel. And you know, every fourth Sunday, we have our friend Joey Stuckey on the show. Joey Stuckey is an amazing musician. He's a producer. Should I just give him the big long list? Okay. He's the official ambassador for Macon, Georgia, which is the Southern rock capital of the world, an award-winning blind guitarist, songwriter, singer, composer, producer, radio and TV personality, music columnist, educator, and sound engineer. And he is here. And you can keep up with him at joeystuckey.com. So welcome back, Joey. How are you?
I am well. You forgot Handsome Man About Town.
Oh, he's about town, too. Yes.
I like Lamont Cranford.
I like it. So I love that we're doing today's theme is summer road trip music. So
yeah, you're right. It's that unofficial time of year where the road trips sort of start.
Yeah, and we have a road trip radio channel too, road trip radio podcast channel. So, this is on there too. And unfortunately, National Road Trip Day, I think was May 24th or something, but it's okay because we went on a detour. We can do whatever we want.
Fashionably late.
I love it. And what is more American than a road trip? You got, apple pie and all that, but
yeah,
road tripping is iconic America. And before we get into the music on this, obviously, Nancy and I are on a permanent road trip across the country. Yeah. So we're really good at the music is important. What you listen to is very important and to keep you focused. But I've got to go into your family history, Joey, because Stuckeys, you guys are part of that iconic road trip experience, right?
That's true. And as a child, we stopped at all of them, and we really did. The sign on the road was cleanest restrooms on the interstate, and that was always true when I was a little kid back in the 80s, and then they also had that wonderful slogan, something like eat here, get gas. So they had that wonderful slogan. So yeah, and I'm really proud of my cousin Stephanie that's kind of brought that back. The stores, I don't know the full intimate details, but the stores were all sold to Pet Milk and then were sold to somebody else back in the 80s and 90s. And then there were a few remaining independent stores that stayed open. And then there was the beginning of all this came back when they started doing something called Stuckey's Express, which was a small sort of aisle of Stuckey's products in other gas stations like BP or whatever. But then my cousin said, hey, I'm going to bring the family, sort of iconic thing back. And she has worked really, really hard and stays on the road about as much as you guys and really has done some amazing things with it and really brought it back. And it was her, let's see, I think I got this right now. It was her grandfather or great-grandfather. Which was it? I think it was her great-grandfather. Yeah. That started it all. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. I'm proud of it.
I love it. We've got Buc-ee's, which I know we've talked about this before, Joey, on the show. And I just interviewed, and his interview aired this Monday. So everyone, it's there in the archives on bigblendradio.com. Musician, an incredible musician called T-Bear. He was like the roadie for Carly Simon. He tours with Walter Trout. He's a keyboardist for Walter Trout, and this is his sixth solo album. He's an incredible storyteller. And so we were talking about the travel, and he says, when he tours with Walter Trout, he said, it's not easy, man. He says, this is not Learjet travel. This is you're one hotel room to the next, and you're not even really sleeping in the hotel. You're cleaning up, maybe taking a nap, and then doing sound checks and doing all of that. And but we said that, and then, you're living on truck stop food. And I'm like, I know all about it. And so he goes like Buc-ee's. So he starts talking about Buc-ee's. And then, of course, I had to bring up Uranus, right? The fudge factory in Missouri. And Nancy and I are going to Missouri in a month. We will be there. So I've got to.
We're going.
We need to go to Uranus because they said Uranus has the best fudge. So we've got to go find out.
I think that's probably true.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know. But so we were getting into this, but I got to tell you the story. He says when they were one of the tours, they had some young like protege, on tour with them that would come out like towards the end of the show with Walter Trout and trade licks back and forth, guitar licks. And
right.
The kid was good, it was like up and coming, kind of, oh my gosh, what like Johnny Lang style kid, kind of thing.
Okay, gotcha.
I think that kind of, when he was real young and toured with people and stuff. But so they would always stop at Buc-ee's. And apparently you can get the the Buc-ee Beaver, whatever the Buc-ee is, right? What is a Buc-ee? Is it a beaver? Is it Buc-ee a beaver?
Yeah,
it is. Okay. So they got this kid a Buc-ee suit, a onesie, and head to toe suit, and he went out on stage and they played.
Nice.
Come on, that's funny, man.
Cool. That's amazing. Cool. He should have gotten some money from Buc-ee's. I mean, that should have been some money changing hands there.
But I think these things are so iconic, and all those roadside attractions, and
I love Flying J. I don't know if you ever have those where you are, but Flying J is a real nice place to stop. I mean, it's not like a Stuckey's. It's a huge truck. You can get a shower and you can, do all that kind of stuff.
Nancy and I still haven't done the truck stop shower, but we're
one shower.
We're kind of tempted, to do it. We are kind of tempted.
As good as I can tell, they're pretty nice.
But did you go in one?
No. I was just kind of around where the shower area was, and it seemed like a pretty nice setup.
But they're mostly for men.
No,
we
got trucker women.
It's changing, but mostly the showers were for men.
Interesting. I can't speak to that part because I don't know, but it seemed like a pretty nice area from what I could tell.
I think it's cool because sometimes Nancy and I are on the road for a couple days, because it's like get to here by sunrise for the wildlife photography and all of that, and
right.
Then you suddenly look at each other, and we're in a place where they say they have rest stops with showers, and we're like, Nancy, I think you need to go in there. And she'll go, I know you need to go.
Well, what you can always do is pull what we did one summer when we were on a road trip. We went to Savannah from Macon, which is about 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on how fast you drive. And we went to the beach for the afternoon. But then that night, we thought we'd take our dates out. A friend and I thought we'd take our dates out to a nice restaurant. But we were too cheap to buy a hotel, and it was just going to be a day trip. So we went to the local library, and everybody washed off in the library. The girls washed their hair.
My gosh!
In the library bathroom. Yeah.
Oh hey, I haven't tried that.
Funny.
And no one said anything.
Well, it is about the hair. Okay, that is because that. Okay, you knew what Nana used to say, called it the PTA, pits, tits, and
I'm very familiar.
Pits, tits, and you know what. And so you clean those areas, right? You can just wipe them down. Wet wipes are good for that kind of thing. And then so when it comes to your hair, that is a problem because I have that hair that, it's like, oh, it looks good 4 or 5 minutes in the morning. And then you're screwed. Well, and everybody making me do Zoom video podcasts. I'm sorry, but that's just the way my hair is. But so now I'm thinking, we need to look at dry shampoo because then you can just, do dry shampoo.
Yeah, it works great.
Because, the thing is, as we travel, every single place has a different kind of water.
That's true.
And it's sometimes you go, oh, my hair likes this water.
You got hard water, soft water. Yeah. Lime.
And, most of the time our hair goes, yikes.
Yeah.
Well, my hair's gone dark. I've turned into a brunette.
Yeah,
and I'm blonde. And all of a sudden,
she's not now.
As soon as I start going west, my hair starts to lighten up. And as soon as I come here, take 2 showers, and my hair is brown again. It's the weirdest thing. But then some people say, oh, you got a hormonal thing. You're hitting that era of your life. And I'm like, no, pregnant women sometimes have
hair. Is it a whole era?
I have a whole era. Yeah, I do. It's called the Lisa era. Hey, we're recording this on your birthday, and you're having quite a milestone one. Nancy's already had some champagne today, Joey. So I'm just saying, be careful.
I can see that look in her eye.
I deserve it.
You do deserve it. You deserve anything you want.
Oh, stop it, Joey. What are you setting me up for,
boy.
man?
It's true. Dang. I think Nancy's the greatest. I mean, Nancy's awesome.
Man, you know what she's going to be like for the rest of the day? Oh, it's all good. It's all good. But now road tripping. Okay, so we got Route 66 and all these iconic places, right? And that's why I talk about America and Americana. And
when you travel down Route 66, do you get your kicks? That's my question.
Nancy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nancy? Oh, okay. So that goes to Nancy's music list is Route 66.
Yeah, because you need to make every stop.
Absolutely.
If you don't if you don't get out and smell the roses, you weren't there. I'm sorry.
Now how long a route is that actually? How long would it take you to travel and stop at all the stops?
Oh, to do all the stops, that's a lot because that's like asking to drive down a scenic byway in Texas and you start stopping at the historic markers. You'll never leave. Because it's one after the other. But Route 66 is celebrating 100 years in the next couple of years, I think it is.
And you really have to do every stop because every stop is different. I mean, it's the same in other countries. We've done this in other countries too. Like we took every road we could find in South Africa, every single road.
Wow.
And it is, I mean, this country's way bigger.
Sure.
And has way more roads.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a little longer, but it's worth it.
I think, Joey, to answer your question on it, right? So a lot of parks are part of it. In fact, Painted Forest Petrified Forest National Park, which has a painted forest within it, is on the Route 66. And they have an old car on the route. It's pretty cool. So Arizona was the first state because it kind of, it started and it is getting to be 100 years old. I'm trying to figure out the timing. I think it began in 1926. And, it is, I mean, it'll take about to do it. If you really just did like 400 miles a day, which is doable, it's going to take you about 6 days,
Wow.
Maybe I'm thinking cause it's about, 2,400 miles, 2,448 miles. And it was constructed November 11th, 1926.
Huh.
So it is getting close. In 2 years, it is going to be celebrating its centennial. And, I mean, this route it's iconic and the attractions are all coming back. Albuquerque, New Mexico is actually the city itself is going around and collecting old neon signs that people don't really do as much anymore because the neon is so expensive and creating a museum. Some are putting them back where they are. Where we are today in Asheville, North Carolina, there's an Ingles grocery store and I just looked at them. They're like, this had like iconic neon. And I'm like, this is so cool to see just a grocery store.
Well, the sound of neon is fun.
Oh yeah, because it pops and it does
sort
that
of buzzes and pops. Yeah.
So our
and
friends,
that's when insects bump into it because they're attracted by the warmth.
Yeah.
Then it pops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so that's good for mosquitoes. Those little lanterns people have when the bugs fly in and they go zap zap crackle pop.
Yeah,
it's the little elves from the Rice Krispie treats are in there. Snap, crackle, pop, ooh la la. All right, no. But so Route 66, Nancy, you put that song on your list and there is a Jefferson Highway song I gotta now see. I'm going to link this in the show notes too. So folks listening, you guys know we always put links in the show notes. Check it out in the description. So there'll be a link to a Spotify playlist and, there's a Spotify playlist for the Jefferson Highway that they created for Louisiana this year, their conference, which your cousin spoke at.
I know.
Joey. She was at that. They did Roger Bell, the president of the Jefferson Highway Association, created a Louisiana, playlist for the Jefferson Highway because their conference was in Alexandria, Louisiana. So I'll link that in there too. But the Jefferson Highway, I mean, this was started in 1915. It predates Route 66 and it's our first international highway and it goes from Winnipeg, Canada to New Orleans. And, by the time we see you, Joey, in the fall, we would have done majority of it except for Winnipeg and Minneapolis, but we might get there. Yeah, because we'll be in New Orleans soon, and it's exciting. So the music for these highways are important.
In Winnipeg, we have relatives in Winnipeg from my mom's side of the family. My mom's mother's side of the family.
So,
Uncle Charlie.
Oh boy! All right, we don't need to bring out the skeletons. Nobody needs to know about our weird family. It's funny. We got skeletons, Joey. So, Joey, speaking of highways, you put "Life is a Highway."
Yeah, Life's a Highway. You got to have that for a road trip.
Yeah, Life is a Highway.
That really should be the first song you play because it just sets the mood for everything else.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's the way to go. Now, Nancy she put the Roadhouse Blues, so that's we have the Doors.
Nice, yeah, very good tune.
Yeah, I think so. That's going to happen.
That's classic.
It is true. It's classic. And so moving on to some more music, Joey, we've got yours. You were talking about the ocean. So Oceanside. So that's not Oceanside, California, but I like that song.
No, but it's, I really, I very often don't put my own music in playlists like this for the show and stuff like that. But I was thinking, what songs made me think of summer and being out and about and, enjoying all the things that summer has to offer, the picnics, the road trips, the seaside. And, I love mountains and stuff like that too, but I feel most spiritually recharged at the beach. And I think part of the reason for that is that I, as a sick child, my doctor said, get him out in the fresh air, get him out in the sun, do all these things to try and help with health. And so, every summer, assuming I was well enough, and even sometimes when I wasn't, I'd just be sick at the beach, and so we'd go to St. Augustine, Florida, which is one of my favorite places in the world. So every summer from the time I was about 7 to the time I was about 15, and maybe even a little bit before that, we would spend 2 or 3 months out there in the beach weather and stuff like that. So whenever I think about songs that make me feel summery and sort of put that summer spirit of freedom and hope and joy and just the warm sunshine shining on you, the breeze blowing your hair, I always think of the ocean. And so I wrote a song called Oceanside, and it really turned out well. It's got a real smooth groove. It's real happy sounding. And it has a really good steel drum part on it. It's my percussionist playing the steel drums, and I'm playing steel drums as well on the keyboard. So I'm playing really good steel drum samples, and he's playing real steel drums, and we're playing in harmony. And mine are kind of layered under his, so you can't tell mine aren't real. So
you go.
So anyway, and then he's playing off. I programmed the drums, but all the little percussion things that he's playing, then it's got me playing guitar, and it's instrumental. It's just a nice little happy melody, but it reminds me of the ocean. It really does, and that's where I spent so much of my childhood. It always was a time of healing and renewal for me. So
I think so.
Yeah.
It's the waves. The waves. The sound of the tide is like kind
the
of
tide, the salt air.
It's good. It's good. It's like whenever you cut yourself, we used to just run into the ocean. It was like a healing way. And now, like, you can't do that, but it's
so good.
The ocean is just amazing. And seagulls. I love seagulls. I think they're one of the most beautiful birds.
Don't forget sandpipers.
Oh yeah. And curlews for Nancy. Nancy loves her curlews. And fish. I mean, you've seen fish and all kinds of stuff. Sharks, hammerheads.
Yeah, I tell you something. You hear about shark attacks sometimes during the summer. And I'll tell you, every time someone gets bit by a shark, I always think, what stupid thing were they doing?
Yeah.
Because it tends to be, it's not always the case, but it tends to be they did something dumb. And one time we were at the beach, and this guy was out in the ocean with a bucket of chum and blood and trying to catch a shark. And then I'm like, when you get eaten, don't come crying to me because you're, and it's so ridiculous. I mean, I just, don't ask for trouble like that.
Oh, well,
What my brother and I used to do, we used to go to San Clemente in California, and people were fishing off the pier. And
Yeah.
we walk down the pier and see the top two people are catching most of the fish. Then we go in the water and we would go and take the fish off their hooks. Because we're like, it's enough for you now.
That's
Because
great. That's hilarious.
I know,
Well,
and it's like, he would go one side, I go the other side, and we would go underwater. And they're like, oh, look, kids swimming. Or I'm like, oh, yeah, watch this. And you take the fish, and we learn you have to pull the fish backwards, then up,
Huh.
because of the way the hooks are, because they're barbed.
Yeah.
And you could take them off the hook, and they would, not exactly bleed, but you could see there's a little injury, but
Yeah.
they're not going to die. And most of the time, the fish we took off, come on, they're so tiny. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people that fish for fun catch them and throw them back in that I know.
Yeah, but
I
don't.
Would you like to have something hook your jaw and then
I would not care for it at all.
Yeah,
I would not care for it at all.
I do have a fun story about sharks and fish. There's a photographer, and he was out, I think this was in South Africa, and there was a guy out there fishing, and in his little boat, and he'd obviously spent the day fishing, and his buddy was with him. And this guy was out there, filming. He had his little drone, and he was going over the water. And this guy gets out in the water, not the photographer, but the fisherman, right? He's got a little speedboat, and he's in a wetsuit because it's cold. So that had to be like the Cape area then.
Mm-hmm.
And he's out in the water, and he's just floating next to his boat. And the photographer looks, and there's a juvenile great white coming for him. And his friend helps him get in the boat, and they thank him. And you know why? You can go and hang out in the water and this is about situational awareness, right?
Play dead man in the water. You can't.
He was floating in the water, but he had his fresh kill, or his fresh fit, his fresh kill, his fish hanging over the side of the boat.
That's stupid.
And what do you think a shark is going to be interested in? Not necessarily him, but you're floating and your legs are doing things. Mm-hmm. You're making movement and you smell like fish that is, ready to be eaten. Yeah. And so that guy saved his life. And I watched a reel of it. It was like, holy cow, and the interesting thing too is to see a great white juvenile. People, it's kind of like watching birds. Birds are different colors depending on their age, whether, they're juvenile or not. It's like sometimes, they have, bald eagles don't look like bald eagles. Yeah.
Well, those baby penguins are like gray instead of black and white.
And this juvenile great white is like dark gray, like mottled blackish almost.
Huh.
So it was interesting to see, but yeah, road trips, that's the thing too. Like when we're road tripping, we have this big freedom feeling, right? In the, put the top down and roll.
Absolutely.
And that's the fun thing, but don't lose your situational awareness on the road and what you're doing. And when you're doing that, Nancy and I, we are very, I don't know, we're very aware of things because of being
you need to be
out in nature and stuff. So we hear things really well. We, anything happens in a house in the middle of the night, I hear it, it's like I know. But on the road, when you have situational awareness, then you really start to people watch. And Joey, I probably guess that you listen to people's conversations while we watch them and make up what their conversation is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I will hear other conversations. Not that I'm eavesdropping on purpose, but I'll just be aware of it and hear some pretty interesting things. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard not to start laughing. And,
I love it.
Then your wife says, "What are you laughing at?" I was like, "Well, the guy on the table is not going to have any romantic interludes tonight." The table behind us.
Yeah. And then in the ladies' room, the stuff.
That's the best place for gossip.
That's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah, that's the best place for gossip. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is really nuts. And I'm like, do you realize there's other people in here listening to what you're saying?
What kills me is people that want to talk on the phone when they're in the bathroom and talk as loud as they possibly can. in these public restrooms. It just blows my mind.
But you take your phone into the stall with you.
Well, you take
they
your phone
say
everywhere.
our phones are dirty. They're filthy. And if you take,
keep it in your pocket.
They'll be talking to them.
And then they flush the toilet and you're like, oh, you're done now.
Or did you let people know? Did they hear this? The other thing too, like in Vegas, now going through that area, I mean, that's Vegas like fear and loathing in Las Vegas, right?
That's the best people watching place.
Vegas is fun, but when we used to print our magazine back in the printing days in Vegas, and so we'd be in casinos all the time. And that was super fun. Like just people watching all of it is just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And in the casino, like the waitresses go around and go cocktails, and because they're free cocktails, they want you to, get hammered and put all your money into that machine.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe Nancy and I had a couple cocktails.
Yeah,
we go in the restroom and that's it, ladies. Always take a buddy. Like our friend Ernie Patino from the FBI. He's a retired FBI, and he's an amazing writer. He's been on numerous shows over the years, and he always says, buddy system. Always take someone with you. When you get out in the car and it's at night, you think, I'm just going to run into the gas station or no, you take your friend with you and stay with your friend. Always have your buddy system. But anyway, Nancy and I go in the bathroom and I swear, Nancy, we're leaving or something, and Nancy goes in there and she starts going by the stalls. Cocktails? And people answered.
Cocktails and
they wanted their cocktails. They totally forgot.
They ordered drinks.
They ordered drinks.
That's too funny.
Oh my God.
It was so funny.
And public restrooms. Now this is a whole other road trip thing. Rest areas.
Yeah.
We need to talk about bathrooms. Nancy still does it in a rest area. She'll go in her bathroom and ask people if they want cocktails. And they don't understand the joke.
Their hands up. It's so funny. It's so funny.
We talked about some wonderful road trip music that we've compiled. We each compiled for the show for people to listen to. But what are your favorite summertime road trip movies?
Oh, dude. Okay, I have to go. Breaking the Rules has Jason Bateman in it. Okay, I've got to go look it up right now. Breaking the Rules, because they changed the name. Jason Bateman. Breaking the Rules. It was 1992, and it has him. Another Bateman. Annie Potts.
Oh, really?
Thomas Howell, Jonathan Silverman, Kent Bateman. Jackie Vincent is Gene Michaels. I mean, they have a bunch of people, and so Jason Bateman in the movie was dying, and he had cancer or something, and he went like, that's it, I need to go do Jeopardy, because he was so smart.
Yeah.
So they get in the car and they all go across country to go to Jeopardy so he could be on Jeopardy.
Was Alice Trebek in the movie?
I think so. Yeah, it had to be.
Well, it's not Jeopardy without Alice Trebek.
Yeah. Well, now it's weird, right? And different, but
it is different. But back then.
Back then, I mean, and it's the 90s, man. Come on, the 80s and 90s of movies are like, I know we've got all this new stuff and everything, but I don't know if I'm just really nostalgic about that. But I thought they were the best movie. I'm just, but Breaking the Rules, it has everything. They get themselves into stupid situations. There's, people arguing in the car. There's, emotional stuff. And then he gets married to Annie Potts because, he's dying and he wants to know what it's like.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of everything. So I think Breaking the Rules.
I haven't seen that. I'll have to check that out. The summertime movies that I always think of, and they always kind of go with road trips. And of course, in the 90s, we were excited when we had the portable DVD players that cost $1,000 for a little 5-inch screen. But I had one. But I always think of the movies that made me think of summertime, made me think of road trips. So I have to think about National Lampoon's Summer Vacation. Mm-hmm. And I actually put that theme song in my playlist. Know. Yeah,
yes,
Holiday Road.
You did. Holiday Road, Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah. Lindsey Buckingham.
I didn't realize it was his. I did not know that.
And, Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because you had XLF in there.
Yeah, well, that's another one of those great films. But, for some reason, synthesizers make me think of summer.
80s.
I don't know what it is. Yeah. And so that song is all instrumental. And of course that comes from the soundtrack of Beverly Hills Cop. But it's such a fun, happy little bouncy song that makes me think of running around the beach.
Okay. What about Easy Rider?
Yeah, that's a great film.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
The other one is, do you remember that there was a great movie called Summer School? That was a fun sort of disposable comedy, if you will. And of course, there's One Wild and Crazy Summer, which is another, had an early Demi Moore in that movie. And then, of course, you have to think of Revenge of the Nerds. You have to think of that. You have to think of. Those are all good summary films.
Yeah, it's Thelma and Louise. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh. That's what Nancy and I mean, because there's moments where I just go, if you don't stop doing that, I'm going to take us over the cliff.
Yeah, we're going.
And then she's like, good, because then you'll be quiet. But yeah, well, what about Boys on the Side?
I haven't seen that, but I know of it, but I haven't seen it.
Boys on the Side is badass. Okay, so you've got, I got to go look at Whoopi Goldberg, Drew Barrymore, Matthew McConaughey. It's one of his first roles, I think.
All right, so these are all fine actors.
Okay, and Boys on the Side has an incredible playlist that goes with it. It had Mary Louise Parker, and she was dying. See, I'm all about people dying. Apparently.
Yeah, I love how positive you are. There you go. Thank you for that.
Billy Wirth, Whoopi Goldberg, and so it was Drew Barrymore, who was, like the crazy young one, Whoopi Goldberg and Mary Louise Parker, and these three, which it was kind of a weird blend of people, go on the road. And they filmed part of this in Tucson, by the way, in our town of Tucson. Nice. And Matthew McConaughey was, and Drew Barrymore got it on. And I will say, when he took his shirt off for the first time, I went, who is this? Move over.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Oh boy. Yeah, that was pretty hot.
Brown cow.
You got to watch this. It is 1995.
Five Easy Pieces.
5 Easy Pieces. I don't know that one at all.
Really? Oh my
gosh. You stumped both of us.
Oh,
that's because it's her birthday, and we're talking about the ancient era.
Because I think that was around.
When you say pieces, is that like pieces of cake, or what are we talking about here?
No, 5 Easy Pieces was like in the late 70 or early 80s, like 1979, 1980. It's about a dropout from it. He's like a super stuck-up kid. And he decides to just go on the road, and he just picks up work along the way, and he works in all these different kinds of jobs. Like I remember him doing something. He worked in a coal mine, he worked in an oil rig, and all these jobs. And then he spent his nights in the bars. It was cool. It was
this sounds fun.
I'll check it out.
Man.
Jack Nicholson was in it.
I love Jack Nicholson.
Speaking
of, that was Nick Nolte that I saw. He looked really hot as a young man. Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
He really, yeah. Somebody posted on Facebook. I was like, whoa. He looked like Nancy said he looked like Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Okay. Wait, I got another movie. Into the Wild, the Sean Penn. Now that's another awesome soundtrack too.
Yeah, I remember that film.
Yeah, and the music. I mean, that's when Eddie Vedder got more into his ukulele thing. He got into that mode, Oh, and we have to include On the Road Again. Yeah.
Yes.
And
a classic.
Speaking of the music, okay, so one of my favorite concerts to watch, other than The Last Waltz, is The Highwaymen. With Johnny Cash, you got Waylon, you got
Waylon Jennings,
Chris Christopherson, Nancy's favorite, and of course Willie, and that music to me, it because they really stood up for all people, all cultures. They kind of took America and said, when as musicians traveling the country, you get to experience people in a different way, and they just kind of it gave reverence to everyone, respect to everyone, and not just that the songs. I don't know. It's just whenever, we think about, Memorial Day, and we think about, 4th of July, all these kind of patriotic celebrations in our country.
Yeah.
It's gone so political now. But if you listen to the Highwaymen, there's this one song. I mean, it's Heroes of America, America the Brave. I have to look up the name again. They tell stories of different people of, the guy that was, the guy who's the car dealer on a paddle boat out of New Orleans area, like all those kind of stories. And you get this landscape, what of America is through the people and what they did in history and, the Native Americans. And it's just, I don't know, it just gave this painting in a way, the way that song, just, I don't know. And it's just one of those best, I don't know, you should listen to the whole thing on the road, the whole album. It's a whole album thing. That's the other thing is we talk about making these playlists, Joey, but sometimes I think you've got to have the right album. And, I know we're in the world of singles, but there are albums that stand the test of time and you can play them more than once,
Oh, absolutely.
I certainly do.
Well, I've included in my playlist a couple of Beatles songs that make me think of summertime and happiness. But there's certainly when I was on a road trip, I was always enamored with the Beatles, and we would always at least do one Beatles album. Sometimes, often I remember on road trips with my parents, I'd be in the back seat playing the Beatles White Album from start to finish. And I actually there's a reason that I put Why Don't We Do It in the Road from the Beatles on my playlist.
I love that.
First
song.
of all, it was never super popular, but one of the reasons I put it on there is because it's from that White Album that I played from start to finish so many times on road trips as a kid. But also, it's the song my mom always hated. And
really,
yeah, and she was like,
because you can't say "do it" to your mom.
Yeah.
And so you can't use that.
Yeah, why don't we do it in the road? And so she was like, "Oh, that song is so ridiculous," and so it made me giggle to play it. So the more she hated it, the more I want to play it.
Well, that's rock and roll, right? No one's really watching us.
It's the whole idea.
It was pretty funny.
I want to add one more movie, The Cannonball Run. Have you?
Oh yeah,
of course.
Do that.
Yeah. That's a great choice.
W.C. McCall.
That is the best road trip movie ever.
We gotta have the trucker music. W.C. McCall, come on.
Oh yeah.
Well, if you're gonna do trucker music, then you've got to do Smokey and the Bandit. If you're gonna do
okay,
you gotta do that.
Eastbound and Down.
See now, now I'm gonna you see this. We start off with these lists. Each of us came in with 10, and obviously we can't talk about all 30 songs, but we've already added, right? So we got Smokey and the Bandit. Yep, and WC.
And who was the guy that sang and wrote that song? Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh gosh.
Let me see.
A lot of people covered it.
You're supposed to know.
I don't know.
You're supposed to know.
Well, I do want to say Smokey and the Bandit. Bandit.
That was
Jerry Reed Bandit.
That's right, Jerry Reed. The thing about Jerry Reed is, people know him for his comedy stuff and his novelty stuff, but he is one fine guitar player.
I did not know that.
He's a fine guitar player. And he also did an album with Chet Atkins, and it is some of the best guitar playing you've ever heard the two of them together. Yeah. It's really great.
Oh, no, that's it. Yeah. Now we have to bring in, you said Chet Atkins, so now I have to bring up Mark Knopfler and Emmylou Harris with All the Roads Running. Oh my gosh. We have to have Mark Knopfler and Chet Atkins, because it was about that rhythm. Look at Johnny Cash. I mean, he had a train rhythm, right? Bo Diddley and Johnny Cash did trains. So it's not train day. That just passed. But, and by the way, we're talking about movies so much. Steve Schneikert, our friend with Hollywood History Podcast, we're going to have to link his road trip. We'll either, depending on how over time we go, either embed it, but it will definitely be linked in the show notes because he does a whole thing on road trip and
he's pretty
Route
cool.
66 and all
I
of that.
I like him a lot. Smart fella.
He is. Chet Atkins and Mark Knopfler is getting on there. I have to tell you, being on the road, I have go-tos. Now, we'll tell you, the Rolling Stones somehow take over the Beatles, but I don't know if I just went through such an intense Beatles phase. And then all of a sudden it was always John Lennon. Like that was my dude. Then all of a sudden I got Ringo's the coolest, more fun. Yeah. And then George Harrison is light, but then he's serious.
deep.
And then Paul McCartney, then you think about Wings. I love Wings. Like we were listening to Live and Let Die the other day. See, we're talking about dead people again. But Live and Let Die, there is something about being on the road and, how it's the dynamics and it's the build up on the road. You need that build up music. And we were listening and it's like, we know this song. How many times have we heard it? But I just put it up really loud and
it's good driving music. It's got that good driving rhythm to it.
Yeah. And the da-da-da, da-da-da, and you can hear this orchestra and we were talking about that. It's like, who doesn't want the orchestra eventually? Every musician at some point wants the orchestra, right?
Because it is a grouping of people on the same mission, as opposed to one person.
And it has a lot of gravitas. It really does.
Yeah, it does. It makes it's the full Monty.
It is the full Monty.
Well, one of the musicians that has been on our show quite a few times is Brian Tarquin. Is an Emmy award-winning guitarist, jazz man, just an incredibly good guitarist, and he does these albums. Aside from doing soundtracks and things like for Seinfeld and stuff like that. And I know you, Joey, we're going to hook you up with him on a show so we can talk about gear. I know that's coming up and down the road. Cause he's a gear freak and you are too. And all I know is, does it sound good or not?
Yeah.
But, you guys know things that I'm just like, yep. It's like when they tell you about how many watts you want for this light bulb to go in there. I'm like, dude, I don't even want to touch it cause, blow things up like the neon, right? But, he does these albums, it's, with Heavy Friends and, he was just on the show, with his latest album. And what he does with these albums is he donates music and he creates awareness for, wounded veterans. And,
nice.
It's really cool. And he gets everyone together. And so it's this last one he has a little bit more jazz in it. And one of my favorite songs off of it, is really, we said Brothers in Arms I'm looking at what he has done. It's amazing. Brian Tarquin and Heavy Friends. He plays with Joe Satriani, Vinnie Moore, Ron Bumblefoot. Yes. But he plays with a bunch of people like that, right? So you can get the gist of who, what, and where. But his latest one, it was really cool because he has this where he is actually playing with an orchestra. And, that was one of my songs that I voted for is getting it. I'm pulling up my files. A Soldier's Journey. And, that song is, it's instrumental. So sometimes when you're on the road and you need to focus, that is the song that is just one of those that gets you in the zone. And, anyway, that's the one we like to play. And he's doing it with Stephen Kindler and Budapest Symphony Orchestra. So that's off of his latest album, Beyond the Warrior's Eyes. And I encourage everyone to go get that album. It is fantastic. Nice. Yeah, because it's just like all of a sudden you hear, it almost goes like, there's almost like that. Like Dave Kersner, I've got one of his songs on there too, because he kind of goes into that prog rock thing too. Yeah. And this song almost does that as well, as a little prog rock into it. And the one I had from Dave Kersner is Eye of the Storm. And he wrote that about road tripping across the country because he basically didn't know where he was even going. His girlfriend kicked him out. Like she just bailed in LA and they were going to make it together, music and all that. And then she just went off with somebody else. And he was like about to like get married and engaged and all of this. And it was one of those like, what? And I'm like, well, we do tell you guys. And, sometimes you don't listen. I'm just saying. And so he just got in the car and his heart was broken. He was young. And drove across the country and, and then he tried to call her and she had disconnected the phone. And changed
wow.
Yeah.
Ouch.
But that is what women do that. Like they sneak attack.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say. Sneak attack, right?
It's sneak attack when you least expect it. Cut off.
We love it. But I think that the music, you go through these different parts of a trip because you can't be like, playing Gene Simmons all the time and Kiss, like full
no,
AC/DC.
You gotta have songs that ebb and flow.
Well,
blues always.
The blues, yes, but sometimes classical music in the forest is magical.
Sure. Yeah.
It is awesome.
Tchaikovsky.
Yes.
One of my favorites, Chopin.
It's dramatic.
I like to play the Nutcracker Suite all the time.
Oh,
is that some sort of statements or?
I'm going back to Bucky's. No, but I love, I know you do Christmas music and everything, but it's to me, when you're driving through forests, like, the Nutcracker Suite and everything to me is just like, that's pristine and beautiful.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. I got you.
And
you have
world
Swan
music.
Lake. Don't forget Swan Lake.
Oh, and Rhapsody in Blue. Got to do that at times. Man, that's pretty epic. When you listen to it once in a while, it's worth bringing some of that out. It's just like, wow. I know it.
Well, go ahead. I was going to say, we've talked about summer road trips for the movies. We've talked about the music. But the one thing we haven't said, is there a favorite book that you read on a road trip?
I drive, so that's not happening. But we do podcasts.
Do you drive all the time?
Yes,
pretty much.
So Nancy never gets to drive.
No, she's like,
I love it.
Is that a control thing, Nancy? Is she just being mean to you, basically, or
no? It's just when.
Okay, here's the deal: if you're the driver, if you're the driver, you can control the music because you're doing the work.
No, but then I had to go and get these blood pressure medications, and it took a while to find the right one. So I was like, I'm not driving, because the one car accident where this guy hit me head on and I was stopped at a red light. And I had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I couldn't back up or go forward or anything.
No, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. He was trying to make a turn and he turned right into me, and because he was new on blood pressure medicine, and he passed out. I saw him pass out at the wheel before he hit me.
Wow.
Yeah. So when the doctor told me, well, you need to have some blood pressure medicine, I'm like, I'm not driving then.
No, Nancy can drive. Nancy can drive.
I can now, but if Lisa wants to, I like to look out the window.
Nancy's sister will. Some of the stuff we go through, and we drive through a lot of construction and a lot of weather. I mean, what we went through in the Pacific Northwest this year and all of that. Yeah. I mean, it's been some crazy driving. And Nancy will look at me and she goes, I ain't doing that. Hell no. Pull over, and it's,
it's funny because my wife is an excellent driver, or at least that's what she tells me. And, so, being blind, obviously she has to do all the driving, but we were on tour in 2019, and my drummer, his daytime job is a training command at a academy for law enforcement. Oh. And he teaches what's called evoc, which is how to ram people off the road and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, I'm not driving through New York City. You're going to drive through New York City. I'm not driving through. I was like, are you kidding me, man? You teach other people how to ram people off the road when they're in pursuit. No. And you're not going to drive to New York City? Come on.
No.
You know what? I
don't even want to go. I want to go in the nature parts of New York, but I have absolutely not one part of me wants to go to New York City.
Oh, you want to see the concrete jungle?
Too many people to know.
I hate to say it, but I love it. I love New York City.
Really? Well,
yeah,
I'm sure it's lovable.
Yeah.
But for me, I want to hear the birds sing, and I want to be in nature more than
we could go to the park
to watch men spit on the street.
Yeah, that's good. Nancy, good call. They have one of the greatest parks in the world there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a huge deal. So there's, and I think it's interesting when you think about books. I mean, reading, we listen to podcasts on the road.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because it keeps my brain and audio, there's audiobooks. I haven't done that, but we'll get to a podcast. I pretty much listen to music or we'll catch up on all the news at one day. And then by the time we stop, pull over, I'm like, holy hell, put the music back on.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen anymore.
Yeah,
but,
totally. 15 minutes of news a day.
Podcasts.
Yeah.
We listen to podcasts and stuff and hear what's going on and shenanigans and all of that, which is fun. I mean, cause we do podcasts and I go listen. I'm like, that's fun. That's a cool way. But, conversations to me are always interesting. I don't care who it is. It's interesting to me about conversation. Some people are boring, but it's just always you're like a fly on the wall in someone's home or something,
Yeah.
So that's a cool way of doing it. But books, I mean, summer reading was a big deal for me growing up. I was always the book nerd on the beach, I'll be out there looking at shells and hiking around, but then I want my books, and I read a lot. I still read a lot, and Nancy reads a lot, but Nancy, you're always reading like historical novels.
I love historic novels, but because we go from place to place, right? We don't carry books in the car with us, so wherever
Kindles and stuff.
Yeah, wherever we land, what's available. Right now, I'm reading this book of short stories, and the first one, I was like, "What am I reading?" and the guy has this long, long beard. And he wakes up one morning and there's a mouse in his beard.
Okay.
So he's like, "Oh, that's cool." So he lets the mouse stay. So he cups his hand under his beard to make sure the mouse doesn't fall off. The next morning he wakes up and there's 2 mice. The third morning he wakes up and there's 7 mice because the mommy had babies in his beard. So now he's got this whole community of mice in his beard. I'm like, this is so bizarre. So now he calls his wife and she has to bring him food so he can feed the mice. I'm like, who would do that?
That's a weird story.
It is. I know. And I'm like, is it true or not? So I was trying to Google it and find out if it's true or not. I haven't had much luck. But it's a really good story.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well,
it is funny.
Well, short stories are cool because you don't have to invest like the whole, you know what I mean?
If you're you can finish one.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, I bet your wife doesn't sleep with you.
Yeah, really.
Not with a family of mice in your beard. I mean, come on, dude, have some pride.
But I love stories like that. What about you, Joey? What have you been listening to book wise?
On summer trips, like I remember a lot of times I associate Harry Potter with summertime because my wife and I would listen to the Harry Potter books on our drive to the beach. And the beach for us is about anywhere from 4.5 to 6 hours away, depending on which beach we go to. So we would always listen to Harry Potter's in the summertime on our long road trips on the way down. But I also, it's getting that time of year where we're starting to be out and about and longer road trips and stuff like that. So I have quite an eclectic taste. I read everything from history to physics to science fiction, fantasy. Biographies. Right now I'm finishing a biography on Boy George called Karma.
Cool. I want to read that so bad because
it's pretty good. And as a blind person, audiobooks are the best form for me to get. And he actually narrates his own book. It's pretty funny because he gets tickled at some of the things he says and starts laughing while he's reading. So I kind of like it.
Funny.
It's a little campy, it's a little campy. And he does sort of contradict himself from chapter to chapter. So, take it with a grain of salt. But it's interesting and it's not real long.
Oh, I love biographies and true stories, but I also love fiction, and I think every fiction, there's a grain of truth in there somewhere.
Well, in May is of course Star Wars month because you have May the 4th be with you. So Jennifer and I watched all the Star Wars movies over that weekend. And, I'm a big fan. And so I read all the books and stuff too. So anyway, but this Boy George book is pretty good. I also like podcasts. I tend to do podcasts of British comedians or podcasts that the BBC does. I enjoy those a lot. There's one called Safe Spaces which is a pretty fun BBC Radio 4 show, and it's pretty good. It's a comedy show, but it's good because, like you say, you can do it in chunks. And
I love comedians. We have to support them because they need to be able to. They're carrying the free speech torch.
Well,
we need them.
We need them for our sanity because jokes are one of the ways we cope with stress.
No, but it's free speech at the maximum.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, to be allowed to say whatever you want to say, and if somebody's offended, turn it off or don't listen.
You know who has a cool podcast for women? You can
always walk away.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus has a killer podcast, and it's a Wiser Than Me, I think it's called, and it's women older than her that come in. So she interviewed Bonnie Raitt.
Nice.
And Julia's funny as heck, man. She's got a good, and she's naughty, very naughty, and her language is everywhere. And when you're driving or something, you need that, at times. And so we've gotten to listening to her because she's interviewing these iconic women that, we don't want to forget. And she had Jane Fonda, she had, and everyone get in arms about that. But it was really interesting. No, it was really interesting. Bonnie Raitt was, exceptionally interesting.
I'm sure.
Bonnie Raitt is,
I'm a big fan.
Huge fan of Bonnie Raitt. I mean, she's just such a good person. And just what she did for blues musicians and women in music, and cool. just hearing her, how she grew as a person, and Bonnie Raitt, I could listen to her all day long in a car. That's out there. Certain people you can just put an album in. Ryan Bingham is a person on my list. He's been on the show, I think with his first, it was after Junkie Star. It was before. Yeah, he was on the show after his Oscar. He had done Junkie Star, the movie with, one of my favorite people. What's his name? Oh my God. What's his name? Come on. The dude. What dude? The dude. You know who the dude is.
Which dude?
The dude. Oh, come on. The Big Lebowski dude.
Oh, well, I can see his
Come
face.
on. Oh, God. Okay, wait.
Mural in that town.
Okay, wait. The dude. Here it is. I'm gonna have to look it up. The Big Lebowski is. Come on. Give me the name, Jeff Bridges. Thank you.
Yes.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was in the band. He was in the movie. What's the movie now? That was in Cloudcroft, New Mexico. Not Cloudcroft.
And why was it there?
It's a brewery next to a bowling alley, and so they had they had him, and anyway, they have people's murals on there from the movie, and the one guy that I really, really like is in there. Man, he's in all the Tarantino things and stuff. He's always a crazy person. Buscemi. Steve Buscemi.
Oh, no, he's got the best faces.
Yeah. Scary. He is on there. And there's a mural, but right down the street, it's Clovis, New Mexico. Yeah, Clovis.
Oh, okay,
we're on this road, Joey, and I kid you not, on the side of the road, and I did take a picture of this. You're in the middle of farm country in New Mexico. There's not much on the side of the road. It's just, all of a sudden this teeny town, right? And it's got a bowling alley with the dude painted on there. The Big Lebowski. And they're talking about a road trip movie. That's got a little bit of that in there.
Yeah.
And it was all about Creedence Clearwater. And Nancy, you had some Creedence on yours. Yeah. Creedence Clearwater is some of the best road trip music.
No doubt.
I think, and Tom Petty. You always have to have Tom Petty in the Traveling Wilburys, right?
We saw his monument.
But anyway, so everyone, please don't blame me from what I'm about to say, but this is what is on the side of the road of this tiny town. You're about to hit the town, and I mean tiny town, and not the Terror of Tiny Town movie with the small people doing the Western. Anyway.
Let's get them, boys.
Have you seen that, Joey?
I have not.
Okay, so the Terror of Tiny Town was made with the actors from The Wizard of Oz in the 30s or something. And it is the first black and white Western with little people.
Huh.
And they wanted to be in it. So
And
everyone, this is not a making fun of.
No,
but
they produced it themselves. They acted
they
in
produced it with the guy from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
It's way cool.
And
so
they sing
funny.
in it. It's a 1938 film. And it was done by Sam Newfield. And it's the Old West tiny town. Bat Haynes, little Billy Rhodes pits two ranching families, the Lawsons and the Prestons, against each other by stealing their cattle and blaming the other family for the theft. Oh no. And so anyway, you got to go listen to it. It's on YouTube. Everyone, The Terror of Tiny Town. Because they do sing in it. And, anyway, I'm just going to leave it at that. But going to the small town of New Mexico, and I may have the name wrong, so that's probably a good thing.
Oh.
All of a sudden, there's a lingerie shop or an adult store, and it's called the Soft Purple Taco. The Velvet Taco. The Velvet Taco. The Velvet Taco.
Now get it straight. Which is it?
The Velvet Taco.
Well, okay.
All right.
But the color of is purple.
It is. That's why I said soft velvet. Yeah. So the Velvet Taco is what it's called.
The Velvet Taco.
And so, of course, the second time we've done it,
that's better than Twinkle Cave.
You know, but what?
It's
Twinkle.
Yeah.
Oh boy. See, and we never, we started off talking about truck stops and weird stuff, and we go right back into full circle.
And bathrooms.
We have
bathrooms.
seen a lot.
And now we're full. Now that it's time for us to go, we're full circle.
I know, but let me just put this in closing. Texas rest areas, their toilets are so down to the ground that you can't get up. Like
then
you fall and you can't get up.
No, on the outhouses in the Texas rest areas, the company name is Texas Thrones.
Oh my God!
Yeah, on the porta potties, it's a Texas throne. Yeah. It's cool. Funny. It's hysterical. Hey, listen, but if you gotta go, you gotta go, right? At least it's not on the side of the road, and I won't tell everybody all those stories.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with going on a throne.
I know, but and it was clean, wasn't it, Nancy?
Oh, eventually.
Hey, look, road trips are great. Music is good, but here's the thing. So music, everyone's got playlists, and you can do Spotify in your car and all that kind of stuff, right? If you can, take the album. It's so much fun to just do an album and really experience the full album. Yeah. Back in the day when we used to have, when we come back with an album and all our friends would sit together and we'd listen to an album, especially for the first time.
That was great.
This is the coolest thing. And I still have CDs in the car. And I got some of yours, Joey, and you got to put Blind Man Driving on your list from Joey too. And actually watch the video. That's really funny.
And you probably think other people on the road are blind and driving, because I know my wife does. She tells me about all the terrible drivers.
It's worse. After COVID, no one can drive. It's a battle out there. Everybody's talking about the airplanes, right? And all this stuff going on with Boeing. But honestly, driving is still worse than flying.
Sure.
In regards to
if the door of the airplane flies off,
it's nothing compared to the amount of accidents and people who don't understand what a lane is. They don't understand. They don't understand indicators. They don't understand speed limits or going under the speed limit is annoying.
Oh, you know what my favorite one is? When you go, like you're going to go get food and you're driving through and picking up your food and the person in front of you backs up.
That is not fun. We've done that.
I've heard plenty of stories about that from my wife. Yes, at least.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing?
Speaking of food, okay, so road trip food. Okay, favorite munchies on the road. We used to call it potkos in South Africa. Road food. Yeah. Joey? What do you gnaw on? Gnaw on?
Well, good. I have to say it's odd. Really, we always get gummy bears.
Dude, that's my thing. Are you kidding me?
No.
Always get gummy bears. Yeah.
I am a gummy bear person, or even little snakes or whatever it is, but I chew them and then I get a sugar high and then I crash and I have to go to a rest stop and stop for half an hour and get my blood sugar back.
We do the gummy bears, and sometimes we do trail mix because that's pretty good, especially if it has the M&Ms in it.
M&Ms, M&Ms and
raisins.
peanuts.
Yeah, M&Ms, peanuts, raisins. So those are the two big ones. I also really have had. I really have a thing for ice cream during the summer. I guess because it's hot. But
have you had a Mr. Whippy when you're in England?
Ooh.
I have not.
A Mr. Whippy. Everybody needs a good Mr. Whippy. We got to
that sounds like something you might find at the Velvet Taco.
I was going to say we should put those two together.
Mr. Whippy meets
Mr. Whippy.
Taco.
Okay, but
there's a children's book in there.
Well, no, this is the complete. This is the sad part of what Mr. Whippy is. He's a soft serve.
I know.
but on the 99-cent version, if you upgrade your Mr. Whippy, you get a flake chocolate in the middle of it that sticks up. Ooh. So that's what you want.
Okay.
You can have a piano downy.
So we don't. Yeah, but
you have to upgrade. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, Nancy. What I know, Nancy's got her she's weird. She will not have, she has to have Sprite. She wants her Sprite on the road.
Yes.
And we've decided for the road, Pringles, are
They're
easier.
Delicious. Yeah.
And get the lightly salted, because Nancy and I, if we ever have regular,
they're so salty.
We can't do it. I don't know. It's everything's so salty and so high in sugar. I got Nancy some birthday cake. Nancy and I we did eat it for breakfast. So maybe we did done that. But we had pizza and breakfast for her birthday. So pizza and birthday cake for breakfast.
Hey,
there's nothing wrong with a breakfast pizza.
It's got tomatoes with vitamin
C. And cheese and dough, It's her birthday. We're supposed to be kids. And so, and Nancy, we've got M&M's still to go. So, just saying. So but Pringles, I don't know, everything is so full of sugar and so salty. So we're not big on junk food, but when we have it, it's our system almost goes into a shock.
Yeah.
My system's fine with gummy bears. It knows gummy bears. It knows them. I walk in the door of a store and they all go, take me on the road.
I don't know what it is about gummy bears in travel, but we always do it when we're traveling. We always have gummy bears.
They're so bad for you.
Everything's bad for you, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's true, unless you just have an apple a day. It's boring.
No.
Sorry, Apple.
But Nancy, you on the road, you're kind of specific on not wanting this, not wanting you're kind of Nancy. Oh, wait. Nancy.
What?
The potatoes. No, Nancy, in the mornings, if we're on the road, I have to have coffee. I need my coffee.
Well, yeah.
Nancy wants her hash browns.
I want French fries.
I love hash browns. Hash browns
like McDonald's or Burger King hash browns, off we go in the morning. She's like,
I love
it. She goes, I want my patatis. That's what she starts doing with me. We'll be out filming and doing all this. She goes, I need patatis. I want my patatis.
I fill you up for a long time.
Oh, listen, you already went in that voice. You went, I want the patatis.
I want my patatis.
Uh-oh, the dogs are going to bark if we keep talking like that. Road trip of food, and we do picnic stuff. So we always have sandwiches and wine on the road, but we don't drink and drive. So I'm not advocating or saying any of that.
I would hope not.
Picnics are great.
Picnics.
They're awesome because you get to stop, you get to be in a green place, and you get to watch other people
or animals.
Eat what you eat
birds.
What you want.
And if you can go to a local deli from a town that you're going through, go get something local. Go see. If you're in New Mexico, you don't have to have tacos necessarily, but you do want to get maybe a Frito pie if you want to be a tourist, or you want to get a beef and green chili sandwich and have green chilies in your sandwich so you can be part of New Mexico's cuisine. So picnicking is good. What would you say would be Georgia food? What do we need to have if we come to Georgia?
Well,
other than peaches.
You gotta have peaches. You gotta have peaches and peanuts. I mean, those are the two big
that's
ones.
It. Yep. Peanuts.
That's two of the big sort of exports, I guess you say. But I always think of chicken salad and as a quintessential Georgia picnic food.
Not fried chicken. I want fried chicken. You say chicken, I just want fried chicken. I do.
Yeah, well, you can. Let me tell you, here in Macon, we have the best fried chicken in the world at H&H.
All right.
And they do an incredible breakfast. The breakfast there, it's terrible for you because it's so full of all the things you shouldn't be eating, and the portions are huge. So if you eat breakfast there, you probably need to skip lunch. But it's really good.
Oh man. Okay. Let's all right, we'll see you there, Joey. That's it.
Hey,
let's go.
I would love to treat you to breakfast at H&H. It's good.
H&H. Cool. Just even the name is really good.
Yeah, it's soul food. I mean, it's soul cooking.
Oh, we like soul food. This is great. No, I can't say it on the air. All right. So there we go. Exactly it's finger licking good. There it is. All right. So everyone, keep up with Joey at joeystuckey.com. He is here with us on our big daily blend show where we never stick to the topic. We did good. Joey reined us in today. He did very good on keeping us on the summer road trip theme. We didn't talk about every song because that's impossible. And by the time we put this playlist together, it's going to be insane. We will also have Steve Schneickert's Road Trip Hollywood History segment attached in the show notes, the playlist. And then we also have a music playlist that Nancy and I made about a year ago that was a music playlist for people who actually travel for a living. So if you're a traveling salesperson or a musician on the road or, whatever you do that you're on the road, a UPS delivery guy. By the way, UPS guys are always sexier than at FedEx. I'm just saying. We check it out across the country whenever there's a delivery, right? That? And Amazon is typically women, and I love to see women in the workforce that are doing things that used to be just men's jobs, so it's really cool to see. But I'm just saying UPS, you got it going on. I don't know why, but FedEx, I don't know.
And
it's a different thing.
Summertime, they wear shorts.
Yes, they do.
I'm not real happy with FedEx at the moment because they lost a package of mine, but we found it, but no thanks to them. Anyway.
Well, Joey, you can't lose your package. That's not fun.
That's really a bad situation.
Yeah, that is a situation.
But
everyone, also, we've got a crossword puzzle in the show notes on roadside attractions. We have 50 roadside attractions in the clues to figure out in this online crossword puzzle. So we hope you enjoy that too. So it's a road trip season. Let's get it on like Donkey Kong. Thanks for joining us. Keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. See you next time, Joey.
Take care, friends.
Yeah, travel on.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio. Keep up with our shows at bigblendradio.com.